couple of systems. I'm a big systems guy. I believe without structure, there's chaos. And look, it's one thing for people that have credibility to come into this business and, call somebody up and say, look, I've got something. And the person says, what do you got? Why? Because they have credibility, right? But we have to create systems of duplication for the masses. We got to think 100 levels deep. We have to think from the perspective of Aunt Betty, who joined our business, who's never done this before. We have to make sure that she has a system of success. And so I want to share one of the duplication systems that I believe are going to be very effective as we move forward. So first and foremost, I love sampling programs. I'm a big fan of sampling programs, but they have to be done right. And so I want to talk a little bit about the sampling system today. And I believe that one of the secrets to success in October for us as a team is to get out tens of thousands of samples into people's hands. Tens of thousands of samples. Doesn't matter if you're using your inventory. I know many of you guys just upgraded to Diamond. That's great. You've got plenty of inventory now to do it. Or if you're using the sample packs. I'm going to show you what we've been doing. So Summer and I, we went to Staples and we bought a pack of envelopes, little greeting card envelopes, little colors, all the different colors, because we wanted them to stand out when they arrived in the mailbox. I think this was $8. And check this out. It just so happens that our samples fit perfectly right in here. Fold that over, tie it up, and it looks just like a greeting card when we send that out. So this is how we're sending out our samples. But I want to talk for a moment just about sampling in general. So how many of you guys have been a part of programs before? You've sent out samples and you said, I sent samples out and it didn't work. I ended up just chasing people. Probably all of you, if you've been a part of a program before, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. So many, many years ago, I worked for somebody by the name of Laurel Langmeyer. She wrote a book, #1 seller, called Millionaire Maker. And while I was working for her, she had different types of leads that would come into the sales floor. And when you first started out on the sales floor, you got the free opt-in leads, right? The free opt-in lead was somebody that just downloaded her book for free and you had to put their name and their contact information in, and that constituted a lead. And our job was to call those people and talk to them about what their goals were, okay? So that was a free lead. Those leads produced a certain dollar per average, right? So those leads, they might produce like a $25 average. If you averaged all the leads out, that's what they would constitute, or that's about the amount of value that they were worth as far as the average goes. Then we had these other leads that, the person had to buy the book and they were able to order the book for free and have the book shipped to them. It was a soft copy, but they had to pull out their credit card and they had to pay for the shipping. So just that, so they could get the book for free, but they had to pull their credit out and they had to pay for shipping. So it's called a free plus shipping offer. And free plus shipping offers have been really big in the industry. Around 2005, free plus shipping offers went crazy because they found out that if somebody pulled out their credit card, even if it was for $3.95, just that extra action would put that person into, it's right, Russell Brunson, right? That's his key. Jeff knows about this more than anybody. We're going to ask Jeff to come on and do some training about this. So what they found is that just by pulling out that $3.95 and taking that extra action, that the average lead was now worth $150 per lead on average, right? That big of a difference. So for me, I'm not a huge fan of going out on social media and just saying, hey, look, I've got all these samples, who wants one? Because you guys know, everybody loves there's a lot of looky-loos out there. And if they're scrolling through the news feeds, it's easy to say, me, pick me, right? And you can get easily 100 people to say, send me a free sample. So you send them a free sample and then good luck trying to get them to respond. Now you might get a few, I'm not saying that you won't get any response, but it's kind of like that free opt-in lead. So here's what we did. So we did something a little bit different. So we did a free plus shipping type of offer over the last week. Some of you might have seen this on my social media page. And so basically what we said was that we took a picture that kind of got people's attention. It was kind of a funny picture and it had all the different samples in our hand. Basically said, look, got all these samples in. We're sending out free samples. It's a free plus shipping offer. We'll send you the sample. We'll pay for the cost, but you have to pay $5 for shipping. And I averaged it out. It might be $3 in some cases, $5 in others. It depends on where I'm sending it. I'm including the cost of this. So I said $5. If you want to do $3, that's fine too. So we said free plus shipping. So here's the deal. Drop your a comment below if you would like for us to send you a free sample, and I'll inbox you the details. So we inboxed them the details and we said, here's what you're going to receive. You're going to receive a sample of RLX. You're going to receive a sample of SLD, and you're going to receive a sample of, what's the third one that's in there? The third one that's in there is ice, right? And I explained just real briefly, one sentence about each one of them. And I said, to secure your sample, go ahead and send a $5 to Venmo, and I listed my address, or Cash App, listed my address, or PayPal, listed my address. Make sure when you send that, that you include your address and shipping details. So we had about 50, maybe 60 people that responded to this free plus, or this offer on my thread. I inboxed every one of them. We had about 30 of them that actually took action, and they sent the $5. Now for me, just so you know, it wasn't about the $5. It's nice to be able to get the cost covered, especially if you're running to the mailbox all the time. But for me, it was about just getting them to take an action. So I have 30 plus free plus shipping offers that are in play. Now I want you to understand something. Some people have said, well, I've sent samples, and some people have said that they just didn't feel anything. Well, there's a process that you have to take a prospect through. Right? What I've learned is that not everybody is going to have an earth-shattering experience, especially when they take a few samples. It depends on their mindset. It depends on, their physicality, how in tune they are with their body, whether they even know what they're taking. If I just handed somebody a few of these and said, here, try these and let me know what you think, and they don't know anything about them, they're going to put them in their mouth, and they don't even know really what they're taking or know what to look for. So we have to take our prospect through a process, and that's really what I want to talk with you about. So the first step for me was just to create the interest, right? That was number one. Number two, from there, I'm sending them a sample. And I'm only sending samples to people that chose to take action, right? A simple action like paying $5 for the shipping. So once they've done that and they've requested the sample, what I do is I send the sample, and all we do is we put a little sticky note on the sample that says, text me when you get this, okay? The reason why I do that is because I want them to take a picture of this, text me, and say, I've got it. Why? Because I know they have their phone in their hand. So what am I going to do? I'm immediately going to call them because I know their phone is in their hand. And this is one of the most crucial steps. When I call them, and this is call number one, I have my objective, and I always know my role. I always know my objective when I'm having conversations with my prospect. Call number one is to get them inside of the testimonial group. That is call number one. Get them inside of the testimonial group. So I would call Sonia and I'd say, hey, Sonia, listen, I'm glad that you got the product. Listen, you're not going to believe what people are saying about these healthy drops, these little drops of health, okay? You're not going to believe it. Now, why am I saying that? Because I want to create curiosity. Why? So I can get Sonia to go, well, what are people saying about these drops? And then I'm going to say, Sonia, real quick, are you in front of your computer or your phone? Now, I know she's in front of her phone because I'm talking to her about it. So now she's going to say, yes, I am. And I say, great. Look at your phone. Just open up Facebook real quick. Put me on speaker. Okay, great. I'm going to send you an invite from a group called Go Life. I want you to accept it. Did you get it? Yep. Did you accept it? Yep. I confirm that. Okay, great. Listen, this group, I want you to read what people are saying. And then I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to tag you on a few testimonials that you've got to hear. You've got to see what people are saying about this product while you're taking it over the next couple of days. Does that sound good to you? Okay, my goal with Sonia is not to have, I'm not looking for her to have this earth-shattering experience when she has these samples, especially when she only has 3 drops. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to create enough curiosity so that I can get her to the next step. What's the next step? To have a conversation. I want her to start asking some questions because behind those questions is a sincere interest. She might not tell you that yet, but behind those questions is a sincere interest. So now we're having a conversation. So I say, hey, Sonia, listen, I'm going to put you in the testimonial group and I'm going to follow up in a couple of days, right? So I'm going to follow up in a couple of days. I love that. Funalicious, right? This is funalicious. So I'm going to get back on the phone with her in a couple of days. And here's what I'm going to say. Hey, Sonia, what did you like best about those drops? She's going to say, I don't know. They tasted good. And I'm going to say, great, let me ask you a question. What are the top 3 things that you would like to improve about your health? What are the top 3 things that you'd like to improve about your health right now? And we're going to have a conversation. And you know what I'm going to say? Oh, we have a drop for that. Oh, we have a drop for that too. Oh, we have a drop for that too. So we're going to have a little conversation back and forth. And then you know what? They're going to say, oh, I read that testimonial about this. Or listen, does this help with this? Will it help me with this? Will it help me with that? You know what? I've got a drop for that too. That's what's so great. We have 15 different drops. And so then what I'm going to say is one more thing. Let me ask you a question. What's most important to you, getting healthy or getting wealthy or both? What's more important to you, Chris, getting healthy or getting wealthy or both? Okay, number 2 for 2. Chris is like 2. I'll get my health later. I'm still young. I got this, right? So listen, when I ask that question, what does it do? It opens up another dialogue. So now I'm going to take them one way or the other, or both, right? I'm going to take them towards money, or I'm going to take them towards health, or both. And so from this conversation, that guides me on what my next step is with them. If they're interested in the product and they're not necessarily, or I might just say to them, listen, here's one of my favorite questions to ask. I'm just going to ask somebody to, let's see here. So who can I call on here? Johnny, unmute for me for a second. Johnny the Wand, go ahead and unmute for me real quick. Here's a question that never will fail you, okay? This has never failed me in 100, I've done this for 100 years. I'm not that old, but long time. So Johnny, here's my question. So if I said to Johnny, hey Johnny, let me ask you a question. Are you making more money than you can spend right now? What would you say?
No.
No. Do you see how he just laughed when he said it? No, but I wish I was, right? I've never had somebody say, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm making so much money, I can't afford to spend it all, but thanks for asking, Travis. No one has ever said that to me before, right? So when I have this conversation, the conversation is about what are some things that you'd like to improve about your health? And hey, by the way, Johnny, are you making more money than you could spend right now? Johnny goes, no, but I wish I was. And then here's my next question, Johnny. Are you open to making more money?
Always.
Boom. He said yes. He's open to making more money. So what's my next step? Guess what, Johnny? There's a private call that's happening tonight, 6 o'clock. Some really, really smart individuals are coming together to talk about a way that you can make money virtually online. If one thing that 2020 has taught me, it's the importance of multiple streams of income. I got to tell you, I'm so excited about this, and it's worth taking a look at. If I sent you the link, would you be willing to join me and just listen in and let me know what you think?
Of course.
Boom, done. Right? So now I move to the opportunity presentation. And guess what's happening? Everything is aimed at one thing, collecting a decision. Everything is aimed at collecting a decision. Now, let me tell you something. If I just hand out random samples to strangers and I don't do any of this, your response is not going to be that good. You're going to come back to me and say, Travis, I sent out all these samples and it just doesn't work. Sampling doesn't work. You have to follow the system, because and this is the most important thing that I'm going to share with you as we wrap up tonight. The system builds the value. And guess what? Dollars follow value. The system builds the value and dollars follow value. You have to take people through a process. They're not ready to join in one exposure. They're not ready to join in 2 exposures. They're not ready to join in 3. But you know what? By the time they've had 4 exposures, they're starting to think about this, and they're starting to have conversations with you about how you got started in the business. Because now they want to know how you got started. And Denny made such a great point today. I know that at some point, somewhere down the road, somebody's going to say to me, how did you get started? Was that you, Denny? Somebody else said that point. I don't remember who it was. Somebody said that in the group today. Good advice. And it's true. So all of this leads to this, collecting a decision. But we don't just want any decision. We want a well-informed decision. So for me, the samples, you know what they are? All they are is just to pique somebody's interest. I am not giving out boxes of samples hoping that somebody has an earth-shattering experience so that they want to join my business. That's not the point of a sample. The point of a sample is to just generate a little bit of interest and curiosity so that you can do what? Get them into a testimonial group. So that you can do what? Have a conversation with them. So that you can do what? Create a customer or invite them to an opportunity presentation. So that you can do what? Bring in a new partner. That is your system. And how efficient that you are at running, measuring, and tracking your system will ultimately determine your success in this business in October. So for me, my goal is to build enough value in the training to encourage you to say, how many samples can I send out for October? And then here's what we're going to do. I would like for you to share with your upline, leaders in your upline, how many samples that you're committed to sending out this month. I don't care if you send them out, cutting out little 3-packs or 5-packs of your little deal. I personally don't think you should send out a bunch. I just did enough to have a conversation. What size envelopes did I use? I used the greeting card envelopes. There's 50 quantity, and it's 5 3/4 by 8 3/4. That's the one I used. And you know what? They fit just about. There's a little tiny overlap on the top, but the flap still folds over and they fit fine. We just sent out a bunch of them. I just like the fact that they're all colored. So for us, we like these. I know you can order some online too, but these were like $8 for 50 of them. So that's what we're doing. Doesn't mean you have to use these envelopes. You can use your own envelopes. You can create your own way of sending them out. But I do know this. If as a team, we can go send out 10,000 10,000 samples this month, 10,000 samples, here's what happens. The Pareto principle is in full effect. Just so you know, preparing you, setting the right expectation. If you send out 100 samples, 20% of them are going to be excited about it. Just how it is. Some people are going to go, I didn't feel anything. I wasn't that impressed. I've never had a product that 100% of the people love it, feel it, experience it, want it, taste it, because everybody has a different mindset, belief system, whatever it is. They're in different places. But here's what I do know. 20% is a pretty simple rule of thumb. Now, as you get more efficient here, your numbers will go up to 30 and even 40%, the more that you perfect this system. But let's say that you send out 100 samples and you had 20 people that got involved in your business in some form or fashion in the month of October. You'd probably be one of the top 1% recruiters in the company. If we send out 10,000 samples, that means we will bring in 2,000 collective people into the organization in October. So the question really comes down to how committed you are to getting these out there. Now, you go out and send out 4 or 5 samples, multiply that times 20%. That's not even one person. That's like 0.8. So that you might get 0.8 chances of getting, there's a point, what does that mean? You might get 0.8 persons into the business. So that's like a, I don't know, smaller person or something. But you get the idea. So the idea is it's all about the numbers. It's all about how many people that you're putting in process. You just got to go through the numbers. So I'm going to stop right there for the night. Any questions that you guys have before we go rock the month of October?